In this video, we're going to be looking at adding and subtracting fractions. So if we look at this example of 1/5 plus 3/10, we can't add these things directly because they have different denominators. And if we look at the picture on the right here, we've got a shape split into fifths and one split into tenths. And essentially what we have to do is we have to change the bottom number, the denominator, into the same number, and then we can add them. Now, a lot of students will take these two numbers and just multiply them together, and that will work, but it means that at the end you may have to do some simplification, and we don't want to add these extra steps unless we have to. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the denominator into the biggest number. If we can, we only want to change one of the fractions. So I can change this first fraction into tenths by doubling the denominator. So I can simply times this denominator by 2, and then I do the same to the top number, 2/10. And if we look at this picture, it's basically the same as just cutting this down the middle, and now this 1/5 becomes 2/10. So that line there, where it was 1/5, by doing that and splitting it into 10 pieces, we have 2/10. The second fraction can stay the same. And now that we have everything in tenths, we can add them together. We've got 1, 2 on the left and 3 on the right. So that's 5/10. Okay, so adding fractions and subtracting fractions involves the same process. We have to get this denominator to be the same. Another thing that's expected of you when you're working with fractions is that you're meant to simplify them without really being asked. So 5/10 can be broken down into 1/2 because 5 goes into both the top and the bottom. So 5s into 5 go 1, and 5s divided into 10 go 2. So that process is expected of us with every fraction moving forwards. Always try to simplify them. And if you put 5/10 into your calculator, it will do this process for you. Okay, if we look at another example, maybe 1/3 plus 3/4, then in this case, 3's do not go into 4. So yes, we would have to change both of these numbers, and the easiest way is to just multiply them to get 12s, like that. And we ask ourselves, what do we times 3 by to get to 12? 4, which is the opposite denominator. And we do the same to the top. So 1/3, when we multiply by 4, would be 4/12. For the second number, when we multiply, what do we multiply 4 by to get 12? It's the opposite denominator, 3. So we do the same to the top number, times by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And we can add these together now that we have the same denominator. 4 plus 9 is 13. Okay, so this can't be simplified any further. You may be asked to put this as a mixed fraction at the end. There's another video on this that you can find, but essentially we're asking how many 12s go into 13, which is 1. That becomes the big number in front, and the remainder of 12s into 13 is also 1. So 12 plus 1 gives me the 13, and the denominator stays the same. You can use the calculator buttons as well to do this. So if we just quickly have a look at that, here we have a calculator that we can put 13 over 12 and press equals, and then if we use the SD button, that turns it into a decimal and back again, but the Shift SD button will turn it into a mixed fraction for you, and Shift SD will switch it back again. Now if we're doing a subtraction, then the only difference is that we're going to subtract the numerators instead of adding them together. So if we have 2/3 minus 1/6, we can avoid just timesing these together. We can just change the first fraction into sixths by timesing by 2, top and bottom. So 3's into 6 and 2's into 4, we both times by 2. And minus 1/6, we haven't changed the second fraction. The denominator stays the same, and 4 take away 1 is 3, and we can simplify because 3 and 6 both have a factor of 3. So 3's into 3 go 1, and 3's into 6 go 2.